Greetings, fellow Dungeon Delvers, and welcome to Dorans and Dragons, where we work together to come up with Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition builds for your favorite League of Legends champions. Holy moly, 20 episodes. Thank you all for coming back each week and watching and enjoying our content. I can't tell you how happy it makes me to create these videos that have an overwhelmingly positive feedback loop. Thank you for turning our silly dinner table D&D chats into something I look forward to doing each and every week. Alright, enough of me being sappy. Today we're building Poppy, Keeper of the Hammer. Poppy was a Yordle who was unable to deal with the somewhat chaotic nature of the rest of her species, and spent the majority of her early years traveling, searching for some semblance of order and stability. She stumbled upon a battalion led by a man named Orlan. Orlan was a beacon to his soldiers, providing inspiration and steady but fair discipline. Poppy befriended Orlan and he became her mentor. He taught her everything he knew about battle and the importance of contributing to the whole. On his deathbed, he bequeathed her his magic hammer, and told her it was intended to be wielded by the hero of Demacia. Poppy promised her friend she would seek this warrior and entrust the weapon to them. Some speculate that she was the hero Orlan referred to, but she was far too humble to believe that. Before we get started with the build, go ahead and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when we release our builds. We'd like to thank one of this month's Doran's Blade patrons, Max. Max chose Poppy to build as part of the rewards for our Blade tier patrons. Speaking of, we're releasing our first homebrew, Denizens of the Void, to our Blade patrons in August. Come join us if you're interested in getting monthly homebrew releases, as well as a bunch of other great rewards. Alright, now let's get into it. First, let's cover the goals of this build. Stop. Hammer time. Orlan's hammer may be just as big as Poppy is, but that doesn't mean she isn't going to bring it down on your skull. Can't touch this. Poppy is super thick. High armor and a high health pool are staples of Poppy, and we'll need them both. Everybody do the bump. We'll need to be able to throw suckers into the wall and use our massive hammer to knock them around. For race, we're going to go with Stout Halfling. Wait, Nua. This isn't some sort of very small variant human so you can abuse that broken race. Listen, don't tempt me. If I thought I could get away with it, I'd do variant human for every build out of spite. Nah, I'm just kidding. I love the other races too. The free feed is just so nice. Stout Halflings gain a +2 to Dexterity and a +1 to Constitution. The Lucky feature lets you ignore the first nat 1 on any d20 roll, but you have to use the new roll, so if you double up on bad luck, there's no escape. Brave gives you advantage on saving throws against being frightened. Poppy ain't afraid of you. Halfling Nimbleness lets Poppy run through the space of any creature, medium or larger. Finally, we have Stout Resilience. This gives you advantage on poison saving throws and resistance to poison damage. Can we talk about how bad poison damage is in 5e? Easily one of the most commonly resisted or immune to damage types in the game. For background, we're going to go with Soldier. Orlan taught her well, and she's followed in the footsteps of her friend. This gives you proficiencies in athletics, intimidation, as well as land vehicles. You also get the military rank feature, which grants you a fairly high level of respect among other soldiers. This lets you head into the Demacian camps and requisition some equipment and even some horses to borrow. Oh boy, oh geez, I wonder what stat format they're going with. It's standard array, and it'll always be standard array. Please don't at me. Roll if you'd like, but keep at least a 13 in charisma and strength for our multi-classing purposes. Speaking of strength, it takes a lot of strength to wield the hammer, so we'll start there to 15. Next, we'll thicken our girl up with some constitution. She's got to be able to take a hit if it does manage to get through all that armor. After that, we'll grab our charisma. Even though her self-confidence is a little lacking, she's able to dole out the morale just like her friend Orlan taught her. Dexterity is next at a 12. She's not the most mobile of her species, but training as a soldier gives her the reflexes for this stat to be warranted. Wisdom is our penultimate dump stat. She is ignoring some pretty obvious signs her friend tried to give her on his deathbed about her being the hero to wield the hammer. And finally, we'll dump intelligence. She's not the brightest Yordle in the bunch. Heimerdinger weeps. For equipment this build, we're going to need two things. First, some plate armor. Poppy is a battle-hardened Demacian soldier and would never enter battle without her armor. And obviously a warhammer. Preferably a thick magical one, but hey, we'll start where we can. Alright, let's kick things off with a level in Fighter. Fighters have a d10 hit die and proficiencies in just about everything, from armor to weapons, with shields in the middle. We also get to choose 2 skill proficiencies. We'll take Perception and Survival. First level fighters choose a fighting style. We'll take great weapon fighting to eliminate those pesky 1s and 2s from our potential damage rolls. The last level 1 feature is Second Wind. This lets you use a bonus action to regain 1d10 plus your fighter level and hit points once per rest. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Use this before you short rest if it's up. Save your hit die, thank me later. Second level fighters gain 1 ability, and it's one of the best in the game, Action Surge. This lets Poppy exceed her limits temporarily to fit in another action to return once per rest. Level 3 fighter, time to put some sprinkles on our vanilla flavored class with a martial archetype. We're gonna go with Cavalier. Poppy loves to protect her allies and give herself to the betterment of the whole. Cavalier's first gain is bonus skill proficiency. We'll take Insight to try and find out who the true hero of Demacia might be. Born to the Saddle gives you a bunch of mounting features, though we're not too worried about here, so we're gonna move on. The best feature at this level is Unwavering Mark, which will give some peel for your squishy carries on the backline. Anytime you hit a creature with a melee attack, you can mark it. While that creature is within 5 feet of you, any attack roll made against someone other than you has disadvantage. If that attack against someone else manages to land, you can make a special melee weapon attack against that creature as a bonus action on your next turn. This special attack has advantage, and you add half your fighter level to the damage done. You can only have 1 creature marked at a time, but you can make the special attack a number of times equal to your strength mod per long rest. 4th level fighters get their first ability score improvement of many. We'll pick up Poppy's W, Steadfast Presence, with the Sentinel feat. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, its movement speed becomes 0 for the rest of the turn. You also get opportunity attacks even if the opponent disengages. Finally, when a creature within 5 feet of you makes an attack against someone other than you, you can spend your reaction to give them a whack. That'll teach them. Level 5 fighters get some attack speed with the extra attack feature. Now, when you take the attack action, you can get 2 hammer swings in instead of 1. 6th level fighters get another ability score improvement. We're gonna thicken our girl up another time with a tough feat. You gain 2 additional HP for each character level. For those of you whose phones are too far away to run this through the calculator, that's an extra 40 HP at level 20. It's a huge gain. On his deathbed, Poppy gave Orlin an oath to find the hero of Demacia. Time to honor that oath with a few levels in Paladin. Paladins have a D10 hit die and no new proficiencies for us. We do get the Divine Sense feature though. This lets you use an action to extend your awareness out 60 feet to detect the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead that isn't behind total cover. You know what it is, but not who it is. You can do this a total number of times equal to your Charisma mod, and they recharge on a long rest. Lay on Hands is the final Paladin level 1 feature. This gives you a pool of HP to heal others with using your action. This pool equals your Paladin level times 5. You can also use 5 points per disease or poison to try and cure the target of them. 2nd level Paladins gain an additional fighting style. We'll bump our tankiness by taking defense. Anytime you're wearing armor, you gain a free +1 to your AC. You also gain your spell slots at this level. As always, we're only going to focus on the Poppy specific spells. We'll get Poppy's passive with Shield of Faith. This lets you give yourself a +2 AC for up to 10 minutes as long as you maintain concentration. Speaking of smite slots, Divine Smite comes online at this level and is by far the Paladin bread and butter. Anytime you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can dump 1 spell slot to deal additional radiant damage. The damage starts at 2d8 for a level 1 spell slot and grows to d8 per spell slot level. Keep in mind this damage crits and can be declared after the critical hit has been rolled. Level 3 Paladins gain Divine Health, which makes you immune to disease. You also commit to your Sacred Oath here. Poppy chose an Oath of Devotion. This gives you some Oath-specific spells. We receive protection from good and evil, and the Sanctuary spells. We also get our Channel Divinity and its Oath-specific option here. The standard Paladin Channel Divinity, Turn the Unholy, is our first option here. This lets you force all undead or fiends that you can see or hear within 30 feet to make a Wisdom saving throw. If they fail, they spend all their time running away from you until they take damage or a minute passes. The Devotion Oath Channel Divinity is Sacred Weapon. As an action, you imbue your hammer with your divine energy for a minute. You add your Charisma mod to all attack rolls, and it becomes magical for the purposes of overcoming resistances. 4th level Paladins gain an ability score improvement. we're going to get our Hammer Shock and Keeper's Verdict with the Magic Initiate feat. We're going to borrow some magic from the Sorcerer's Camp so we benefit from the charisma we have baked into our kit. We get 2 cantrips and a level 1 spell. The only cantrip we'll need is Booming Blade. This lets you make a melee attack. On hit, the target takes 1d8 thunder damage and gets sheathed in booming energy. If they move willingly, they take an additional 2d8 thunder damage. We're going to get our Hammer Shock by using Booming Blade and Divine Smite to make casting this have some oomph. For our level 1 spell, we'll take Earth Tremor as our Keeper's Verdict. This lets you slam your hammer in the ground, or an enemy, as an action, then you Action Surge and cast Earth Tremor. Each creature other than you within 10 feet has to make a dex save or take 1d6 bludgeoning and be knocked prone. Level 5 Paladins get extra attack, which unfortunately does not stack with Fighter's extra attack, so it's kind of a waste. But we do get 2 level 2 smite slots though, so 2 opportunities to do 3d8 radiant damage. And we're back to fighter levels to angle towards that heroic charge. Level 7 Cavaliers gain Warding Maneuver. This lets you spend your reaction to roll 1d8 and add it to a creature's AC whenever that creature is hit. If the attack would still hit the target, it has resistance to the damage. You can do this a number of times equal to your con mod per long rest. 8th level fighters gain another ability score improvement. We're going to hit the gym and bump Poppy's strength by 2 points. Level 9 fighters teach Poppy how to avoid damage by letting her re-roll a saving throw she fails with Indomitable. Once per long rest, you can re-roll a failing save throw. You must use the new result, however, so keep that in mind. 10th level Cavaliers gain the Hold the Line feature. This extends your steadfast presence to allow you to make opportunity attacks if a creature moves within 5 feet of your reach, and like Sentinel, if you land the attack, the creature's speed is reduced to 0 for the turn. Level 11 fighters gain another extra attack, making our total number of hammer strikes per attack action 3. 12th level fighters get another ability score improvement. We're going to bump our strength again. Gotta make these hammer blows count. Level 13 fighters get to take the awesome feature that is Indomitable and give it another go per long rest. Ain't that swell? 14th level fighters gain the final ability score improvement for the build. As always, I look to round off any odd modifiers here. We can max our strength with a point and give us some more health with a point in our con mod. Here it is. Level 15 Cavalier fighters gain the Ferocious Charger ability. Time to put these fools into the wall and whack them down. If you move at least 10 feet in a straight line before you hit a creature with an attack, the target has to succeed on a strength save or be knocked prone. Now, you can only do the knocking prone bit if you put them in a wall, but that's between you and your DM. At level 20, this is a DC 19 save, so it's not going to be easy unless you're fighting something really big. Alright, now that we've completed the build, let's see how we did. First, the good. Did you want us to bring the hammer down? Because we did. You get 3 attacks per action, and each can apply a Divine Smite for that extra oomph. Also, our girl is thick. Her tiny body belies how much of an absolute unit she is. 224 hit points and 19 AC, and that's without Shield of Faith. Poppy is also a Peel Queen. She has a ton of utility to provide defense for her allies. Now the bad. This is another feat-heavy build, so we're only able to max out 1 stat. I would have preferred to get at least 2 maxed out, but hey, that's what items are for. Also, you only get 1 reaction per round of combat, and with so many options to use it, you have to be a little bit picky. So, what'd you think? I've included a link to this build via D&D Beyond in the description below, as well as the links to Amazon books used in the build. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few awesome rewards, including access to our Discord community and the homebrew we mentioned at the beginning of the video. We plan on churning out 1 league champion every week. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you on the Rift. Or in the Forgotten Realms.